Change management is hard. It's really hard. It's hard. It's complex. It's challenging. It's unpredictable. And here's the kicker. It's always lurking just around the corner. We know there's no growth in our comfort zone and there's no comfort in our growth zone. We know all of that too. But the thing about change is a comfort zone issue. Because whilst ever we are in our comfort zone, we're happy and safe. It's all fur-lined and it's cozy and it's lovely. But there's no change, right? Because we're in our comfort zone. Change is a comfort zone issue. So to understand change, you need to also understand comfort zones. But let's dive in. So let's draw a graph. We're pretty good at drawing graphs around here. So I'm going to try and make a handsome fist of up along the y-axis. We're going to do motivation and performance. Motivation and performance. And along the x-axis down here, we're going to talk about time. Okay, so I'll draw you a picky and then we'll kind of take it apart and we'll see what it means. The change curve looks rather like, and I'm going to try not to make too dreadful a job of it, kind of looks like that. And if you're listening and not watching, I don't know how to describe that to you, other than to say, it's the change curves. Go have a look at that, right? Here's what the change curve looks like. Something happens to us, right? And it could be, so this is time 0, and suddenly we go, change is afoot. Something wicked this way comes, right? So there's a point where we go, okay, I see it. Something's happening. It could be that you're backing out of the car park at Publix and somebody rear ends you. Could be that. It could be that you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you bad news. Could be that. It could be that you think everything is hunky-dory and your wife or husband asks you for a divorce or somebody splits up with you, whatever, right? Something happens. There is a trigger, and when that first trigger, when we first perceive that trigger for the very first time, we very quickly find ourselves in denial. What does that look like? Well, you're reversing out the car parking spot in Publix and somebody rear ends you. The first words that come out of your mouth are, I don't believe it, right? The first words that come out of your mouth are denial. This is impossible. This can't happen to me. Why is this happening? I can't believe it. You don't believe it. That's what denial looks like. You refuse to accept the news, right? So you start with denial. Not far after denial, there comes a point when, we'll call it realization, that you realize it is real, right? You can't just deny it. It is actually real. Where you go, first of all, you go, I can't believe it. So you deny it. And then sometime later you go, it's true, isn't it? Right? That realization that is actually true. What happens after that? When you deny it, and then you realize there's no point in denying it because it's very obvious and here and self-evident and right on our doorstep. Well, the next thing you do is you try and resist it. And you go, no, I'm not, no, this isn't good enough. I'm not accepting it, right? You try and resist it. You'll notice now that your motivation starts to drop. There comes a time eventually when the change continues, there will come a time where eventually you accept it. You don't accept what's going to happen, but you just accept what has happened. Sometimes that could be 15 seconds where you go from denial, realization, resistance to acceptance because there's nothing you can do about it. But sometimes that could take years and years and years. We all probably know. I know some people who have been divorced for 10, 12, 14 years and still can't accept it. They're still in that resistance. They can't accept that they're divorced and their life has changed, and how could he possibly do that to me, right? And it's taken them years to get here, and maybe they are still not there. All of that up to this point here, let's say, we'll call all of that endings. Well, what's ending? Well, the thing that we had before this thing happened, right? So I guess you could argue our comfort zone, right? It's the end of the happy, warm, lovely place we were in, right? So some things happened. We get very grumpy about this whole thing. We realize it's true and it's not going away. We resist until the point we go, well, the resistance is futile, and we accept it. And as I say, this here, up to this point here, could be seconds or genuinely decades. Okay. But all humans are built the same way, right? And we can't avoid it. There is no shortcut. You cannot go straight from denial to acceptance. You have to go through, even if it's a short period that you live in each of those, you have to get ultimately towards acceptance. Once you accept it, you can start to come to terms with it and figure out how to get through it. There will then come a time you realize that even though you've accepted it, doesn't mean you like it, you face a period of uncertainty. Because it's new. You don't know how to deal with it. You don't know what's next. So there's a period of uncertainty, and then you start to seek, what does this mean? You've got to try and internalize it. What have I got to learn? And eventually you'll come to a point of understanding. Eventually. And this, up to kind of this point here, to this point here, and again, this period of time can be short and fast depending on how well you deal with change, obviously. This is kind of our transition period. And then we've figured it out, or we've tried to figure it out, we've tried to internalize it, we've tried to process it, understand it, and then there'll come to a point where we go, okay, let me commit to this. We'll make some kind of commitment to the new, right? And you'll see now how your motivation is climbing, right? And so what we now have here on in, until something else comes to rock the boat, we have a new beginning. Okay, cool. And oftentimes, once we've made this commitment, the world is better, after that. Okay, so this denial, realization, resistance, acceptance, uncertainty, understanding, commitment can be a very long time, it can be a very short time. All right, so what's this got to do with the weather and the price of fish? Well, every human being has to go through this when there's a period of change. We cannot go straight from denial. We cannot shortcut this. We cannot go from there to there instantly. There is no shortcut. What is the role then of a leader trying to help an organization or a person transition through this change curve? Well, they've got to do two things, really. They've got to figure out, and again, this is for themselves too, sometimes they've got to look in the mirror. Instead of the change curve looking like that, for example, their job is to figure out how to minimize that and how to minimize that. So we've got to minimize, we'll call it A, and we've got to minimize what we'll call B, so that we make the curve as flat and as short as possible. Otherwise, we'll have people still resisting a decision that you made 6 months ago, new goals and objectives, new KPIs that you put into place 6 months ago, and there are still people saying, well, why does it have to be this way? In my day, it looked like this, and they're talking about the past. What are they really talking about? Well, they're talking about when things were more comfortable than they are now.